Russian President Vladimir Putin says Russia's African trade reached $18 billion in 2022, which was necessitated by the first Russian-African summit in Sochi, Russia in 2019. He said this at the ongoing Russian-African Summit and Economic and Humanitarian Forum in St. Petersburg. President Putin said the Russian government's businesses and public were sincerely interested in further deepening multifaceted trade, investment, and humanitarian ties with Africa. Russia's trade with African countries in agricultural products increased by 10%, amounting $6.7 billion, and had already demonstrated record growth between January and June 2023 by 60%, while stating that Russia exported 11.5 million tons of grain to Africa in 2022 and almost 10 million tons in the first 6 months of 2023. Meanwhile, the Afrexim Bank have announced that credit limit of about $30 billion to support Africa's investors willing to exploit the opportunities in Russia. But the stock market maintains its corrective trend as trade indices are weighed down by lower prices. Effiong Gekop has more markets.
For 3 days this week, our stock market turned downward as it presented itself for trade corrections. The strong bullish run that moved across market sectors created huge opportunities for profit takings. The trading tables now turned downward to mark trade figures that showed movements of capital out of the markets. Cadbury was the biggest trade loser as its price was down by more than 1%. Other losers were Beja Paint, African Prudential Insurance, Chams, and ICO Insurance. Trade index came down by 0.68% to stress losses in market sectors. The lines of marginal trade gainers showed Access Corporation, Abe Building Society, Cotsville, FTN Cocoa, and Japol Gold. And outside Nigeria, East African Breweries quoted on the Nairobi Securities Exchange in Kenya is reporting a drop in profits. The company, which made a modest revenue of 12.3 billion Kenyan shillings in the financial year ended June 2022, recorded a drop of 20% in earnings. The company told investors that their dividends would be sliced by half of a percentage point to 5.5 Kenyan shillings per share. Company managers listed high cost of production, inflation, and currency devaluation as major challenges to business. East Africa Breweries is a market leader in the Kenyan breweries markets. Effiong Gekop, TVC News, Lagos.
The country's export authorities are set to explore opportunities in the outsourcing sector of the economy. This is against the backdrop of huge potentials in outsourcing, with cuts across sectors including financial services, logistics and customer support, amongst others. Lara Folayan reports.
Outsourcing involves making use of a third party to perform a business task or function that could have been done by the primary organization. Its practice is carried out by various establishments for reasons including wanting to cut down on cost and time, getting the best quality service or product, as well as inadequate resources to internally carry out the activity being outsourced for several reasons. Outsourcing in Nigeria is carried out in various services including financial advertising, courier, customer service, and logistics, amongst others.
They get trained on all this.
The export promotion authorities see huge opportunities here and want them thoroughly harnessed.
We are moving gradually and focusing more on export of services because an area that has been neglected for quite a while, and it is a cash cow. It is a place we can get, an area or a sector we can get high revenue in terms of foreign exchange earnings. So, and that's why we are doing this. Hopefully at the end of this conference we should be able to chart a roadmap that we can implement in the services sector.
The country's population, low cost of labor, time zone, and English-speaking abilities are seen as qualities that make it good for outsourcing activities. The industry is being described as one with high revenue potentials in billions of dollars.
If our services sector is well harnessed, we can even earn more than the 4.8 billion US dollars we are earning from our products. So we are looking at almost, because we have to start, so we are looking at almost the same amount of dollars we are earning from the product sector.
The global spending for outsourcing is predicted to touch $731 billion this year, and as the country works towards getting its market share of this projection, experts advise that care be taken in ensuring that it is done right with clear set out goals to avoid it becoming a drawback for businesses. Lara Folain, TVC News, Abuja.
And finally, the European Central Bank has raised its key interest rate by 25 basis points to curb inflation, diverging from a U.S. Federal Reserve's decision to pause its own hikes. The latest move completes a full year of consecutive trade hikes by Eurozone after ECB embarked on its journey to tackle high inflation last July. After the rate hike, the interest rates on the main refinancing operations and the marginal lending facility and on deposit facility will be increased to 4.25%, 4.5%, and 3.75% respectively, with effect from August the 2nd.